Hello and welcome to Leashed Dad's podcast. Tonight, this is Justin.
That is Jared.
We are two leashed dads that get together to discuss our everyday lives while chained to our parental responsibilities. And tonight, we're talking about stress and its effects on the family home environment. Work stress versus family stress versus house stress.
Working parents stressed out carrying their work stress home is really a big thing, um, to say the least. Is I'm sure everybody goes through it, and so if you're a working parent, you're you're not alone if you're feeling stressed. And when I say stressed, let's take this analogy. Everybody loves the glass full, right? You've got the glass, you've got water in it, um, and it's already full. And then all of a sudden, something just happens at work that some small thing happens at work that just puts it over the top and it starts spilling out or overfilling. It could be emotional, it could be physical, even. You're tired at work, or you've just had a really bad day for some odd reason, just something like that. Um, So you find that breaking point there when your glass is already full, you're emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever, just can't handle it. You're overburdened by everything. So um, I think tonight I will really want to focus on the working parents and the stress, and finding ways to not necessarily, or to leave it at your doorstep before you walk into your house or anything like that. Um, because with work stress coming into the house, I think you can definitely feel a different atmosphere. Like your family
Mm-hmm.
can, or feel like you're, once you walk in with that stress and you let it show, it's going, the atmosphere, your home atmosphere changes. And even so, like, and vice versa, right? You leave home and for some reason you're stressed, but you go to work and you have that home stress there. Um, you're gonna feel, you'll bring in the different atmosphere to the work environment as well.
Well, for
So
sure.
that's what I want to focus on. So
Okay.
I don't know if what else you would like to focus on relations to work. I know you can, or not just work, but like the home stress or anything like that. Um, we maybe it might be like two different episodes, right?
Yeah, it could be.
We'll we'll see.
Let's just roll with it and see where we go with this. But no, I have a lot of input on stressors in regards to, your personal life seeping into your work life and your work life seeping into your personal life. So yeah, let's get it to it. I was gone last week, so I
I
didn't
know.
get a chance to
Surprise,
catch your
surprise.
episode. I apologize. I had to step aside and take care of some business. So
Guys, he went down to Illinois and nearly
yep.
got shot.
No, it was in a suburb of Chicago. I was nowhere. I could see the city from my window, but I was nowhere near the actual city.
I don't know. It's a bad stereotype. I'm sorry. Sorry to those Illinois, those fibs. Uh,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm on a roll. I am sorry to you Illinois folk. I don't mean any harm by it. No, it's a bad stereotype, and I apologize for going that direction. No, hopefully, Jared, you had some fun down there for work. Um, I know you said you had to work, or it was work related, so hopefully it wasn't like all bad, and you actually had some time to do other things with
No, it was a good
with your
time.
team.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. Everybody was, sipping into the old boozy Susie, but and it was very
Susie.
interesting. Very interesting being the only one of the only sober people there. It wasn't as challenging as I thought it would be to remain, on the level, but it was very interesting to see, at least. But no, it was great networking. I'm not going to spill where I work, but it was a bunch of small independent agencies coming together and one big giant national international conglomerate thing. So we're big time now. No more smally. It's the big deal. So I'm looking
So
forward to it.
does that mean here with being big time now, there's room for growth,
Oh hell yeah!
and you're going to take said chance or opportunities that rise?
As much as I will, yes, I know I don't. Yeah, I'll try without going too much into the reasons why I'm not confident in like the right now situation. But in the future, yes, I definitely plan to try to grow up and find another avenue within the company for sure. Yeah.
Hence the arise, not like
Yep.
jump into it right now, gung ho. Doesn't always work. That actually can, believe it or not, cause additional stress um, if you try to jump into something you're not ready for.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So the episode was kind of bland. Uh, just kind of went up through an update of life and how things are going with myself. For those of you who've heard it already, Jared here, I will tell you this. Um, I started doing or taking some online coaching for wrestling. Went through the safety course, completed that.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so with Kane being in wrestling, and then Nico, who wants to do wrestling as well, or that's what his heart was set on when we asked him last time what he wanted to do for an activity. He wanted to do wrestling. So it's like, okay, well, Sam and I are now both going to become certified coaches, basically. That way, if the kids get to state or do some national tournaments or whatnot, we can be mat side, because coaches at these big national tournaments or even international tournaments, you actually have to have a USA membership slash certification.
It makes
Um,
sense.
right. Whereas I mean, I'm not saying that the ones that we go to most of the time don't, they're not, you know, national sanctity or anything like that. They're just not. I mean, they're still sanctioned events, right? Um,
Yeah.
they're just not exactly high up or at a national level. So I mean, they're still sponsored by whatever or held by schools and everything like that, but um, it's not like a state level kind of tournament all of a sudden. It can help with state and going to state, and if you're part of a team or whatnot. Um, but eventually, Sam and I want to be able to do Matt's side for Kane or Nico, or whoever. Even myself, I'd like to be able to coach and as like a volunteer coach too. Um, After the past couple of years, stopping and watching Kane practice through his school club, I've run in some pretty cool dads there as well that coach. Um, and believe it or not, they've become a little bit of buddy buddy with them, where we've hung out outside of there. We've gone to a couple cookouts with each other already. Um, so it's kind of really got me going, and I would love to not just be like a spectator at all. I'd rather
Yeah.
actually be able to throw in some input, or help work with them as well. So uh, making my steps in that direction. The other thing is too, I've started really considering it more, um, about going to school for becoming an orthodontist. So
It'd be
actually,
awesome.
I've started looking at. Um, I'm actually looking around trying to figure out what I still need in regards to like credits, even though I already have a degree. Right. If I want to go back, I got to figure out where I can get or what credits I need or general education I need first, before I dive into the dentistry side of things. Um, I do again have that advantage of having a degree, but it's not necessarily the degree towards dentistry. So maybe I might just be starting over. Who knows? Um, but I'm really trying to find something that might be online for the beginning, and then eventually shift over to in person. That way, I can still work with or be with my kids and family at the time. So we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, so that's how the past week went. Honestly, it's just kind of talking about that. Um, Believe it or not, though, that can be stressful. Did you know that doing episodes alone can be stressful sometimes?
Yeah,
Just
for sure.
not sure what you want to talk about or bring up in a conversation when you're doing a one man show. Essentially, it hurts. I've thought about bringing Kane on at some point too, but I realize it also would run into his bedtime. Maybe I start early, but I don't know. I'll figure it out next time you're not around or something.
Okay.
But yeah, so let's see. That's that. I've got nothing too spectacular of proud daddy moments at all either. I haven't. Not saying I'm not proud of my children. It's
Right.
just there's not much to share right now in that aspect. The meats, the whatever the good stuff. I know you said you're emotional or not emotional, but just tired. You've been dealing with a lot of probably at home stress recently, right?
Both sides. I got it from both angles, man. There's no rest.
Yeah, there never is rest, and that's actually the problem with some stress is you don't get a chance to rest. Um, so tell me a little bit more. I've got some. Uh, I guess there's some tips and whatnot that I want to kind of cover due to the idea of being stressed out from work and whatnot. Um, but go, I want to hear what is causing you to be tired or more so tired.
Well, and so for today, the main reason why I am so exhausted is because I had a sick child last night who unfortunately not decided, but unfortunately threw up quite a bit of stuff at like 2 in the morning, and I had to get up at 5:30. And I went to bed at like 10:30. Regardless, so today's stress is not enough sleep and interrupted sleep and getting up early and driving an hour and a half to the office, and then during lunch driving back, and then having corporate meetings all day, and just it's a lot. And we got a birthday party on Saturday, and we're flying to San Diego in a week and a half. So things are just nuts.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I feel like hmm, it's crazy.
Yeah, the more it ramps up, the more I just want to retreat and stay in bed all day and watch like movies or TV
Yeah,
shows, something. I don't know.
wonder if I'll be able to
Just
watch.
not do anything.
Wonder if I'll be able to watch Big Bang after this.
Why wouldn't you?
Sam went to bed early,
No.
so I don't know. I won't think about that. I don't really care. I'll probably just go upstairs and go to bed like normal. Um, it's been recent. We just started going to bed earlier. Not a big deal, but yeah, no. So that's a lot of stress to handle. I mean, corporate meetings, that's a physical thing, mental thing. You have to sit there, listen to them talk. Being at home with the children, watching them, that's, physical, right? You can't necessarily go to sleep when you want to or should be sleeping because you're dealing with their sickness. Um, I mean, it's also probably emotionally draining knowing that you're having to deal with it and comfort them or whatnot. And yeah, I've been there, done that too. Um, just bears you down. Uh, so for me, we look at it this way, right? I said I'm stressed. I'm stressed work related. Um, I mean, last week was kind of a bad week at the end. Um, my boss, I mean, he did apologize after work and everything, um, via group chat, but he had a very bad day. Just he had a very bad day, and you could tell, like some patients he had consulted with, they were not like listening, or things were just happening, um, and it was escalating to a degree that just wasn't wasn't necessarily good, and you could tell as soon as he got out of the room, for example, that he just had a different aura around him, uh, to say the least. His aura had changed, um, and I won't say speed or anything, but um, the just the way everything kind of carried throughout the rest of the day had changed. So stress kind of goes that way, right? You feel your boss's stress or anything, or um, your coworkers. Working in the office environment, right? If one of them is stressed or has a negative attitude, it kind of trickles on down to everybody else, right? So that that can lead to a change of your attitude and stress you out a little bit because you're like all positive and now you're negative. And uh, my stress more so though is I am in an office full of girls. Does that say? Do I need to say more there, or is it
No, I'm
self-explanatory?
in the same position, and well, it's nothing but girls and alpha males, like hardcore boomer alpha males, which
mm,
doesn't help at all.
no. So I mean, it's not bad working in this environment. The only time it does get bad is when they, I guess, will get emotional, or what happens when you're in a room full of girls and one gets angry at the other, right? You
There's instant drama.
Yeah, it's just all drama, right? Or
Yeah.
something happens and they start talking and they're trying to release their stress, or their emotions. It's The girls are fun to work with. They're good. They're good people, good teammates. It's just when something happens and they get stressed out about it because somebody else is doing something else. It's not fun. It's just not fun when they do that. But I mean, that's really all I can say about that. That's what actually can lead to some of the stress, um, because that's all you hear throughout the day is like, "Where's this person? What are they doing? When am I getting this? Or when am I getting this or that?" Um, that is physically, mentally, and emotionally draining all at the same time.
Right.
And believe me, when I and it some days it gets boring too. Like when you don't have the patients, or like patients that are like your usual schedule is kind of busy, but today for example on Wednesday, uh, I feel like this past Wednesday it's been a little interesting, a little slower than usual. Granted, we do start at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays and work till 5, but it was still I felt still slower because we didn't have the normal amount of patients that we usually do, or what it feels like we didn't have. What it feels like as we didn't have as many patients as we normally do. So in a
Mm-hmm.
day at least, but that it's okay. It happens. Not a big deal. I mean, when our boss comes back from vacation, like usually the Monday and whatever, it's pretty chaotic
Mm-hmm.
because now it's like, all right, let's play catch up.
Right.
So now let's play catch up, and it feels like everything is just overbooked. Like that entire first week is just overbooked from patients trying to sneak in or get in and everything and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, you can start feeling stressed when you feel like you just have a lot going on and you're not getting enough done fast enough or in the just appropriate time frame. So um, it can be a hindrance to your life. Um, as far as making sure you don't bring that home, though, that's the trick, right? Once the workday is all said and done and you're stressed out from it, what are you gonna do to stop? How are you gonna stop bringing that home so you don't affect your family? Um, it, believe it or not, that is not really a very good answer. Um, there are some tips for sure, uh, but you may, I almost say it's not always possible just to leave everything at the doorstep. What do you think, Jared? What's your thoughts about leaving your work stress at the door before you enter the house?
I've I've imagined it a while ago, especially. I mean, I had very little emotional intelligence when I was in the office post COVID, and I took all my stress on my family. Unfortunately, it's not like I was doing anything bad. It's just I was grumpy, I was sad, and irritable. Right? Not anything else.
Hmm.
But I would often imagine it when I was catching myself ramping up and getting irritable and everything else. I was imagining just like as soon as I shut down the computer, boop, done. Okay, switch take some time, close your eyes, and let it go, and then walk upstairs. And then you are in that world, that environment, your family, your life, nothing to do with work. It'll be there tomorrow. And I'm a huge believer in work life balance. In fact, I am every day trying to strive to get it more balanced. Um, where I have my hours. I try to not go past those hours if
Hmm.
necessary. And once I'm done, I'm done. I don't. I actually used to legit check my email, through about 7 o'clock at night, just so I didn't have a lot of work to do the next day. Big mistake. Nope. When it's after 5:30, done. I'm on to my family. But it's not easy. Trust me, it is not easy because I couldn't do it post COVID because I had no work life balance.
Hmm.
Before I had my spiritual awakening, I was consumed with this is my fucking career. This is what I want to do with my life. This is my life. Work. No, and now it's just this is what I do during the day. It helps support my lifestyle, and it'll bring me to my next journey when that comes.
There you go. That sounds like a good thing.
But as far as tools to separate your work and home life, my best advice to you is to literally kind of meditate, without being too new agey. Kind of meditate. Just shut down, close your eyes, and imagine you're just walking. You put a lock on your work, and the family you has now emerged from your work you.
Yeah. No, actually, I mean, you bring up a very good point too, and actually, that's one of the tips out there, um, that I was
What,
reading. So,
visualize it?
no, well, visualizing is not bad, but it was more or less the practicing self care, practicing meditating. Um, that's always one of those ways just to help either side get away from the other side. Um, that, again, it's one of the tips that I was looking or finding as I was trying to prepare myself for this conversation tonight as well. Because I was curious, again, talking about ways to help those working parents reduce the stress or bring the stress home, and being able to meditate or practice a way to breathe, even like you said, kind of take that deep breath, close, shut your eyes, and be like, yep, this is the environment I'm now in. I'm done with the work, it's time to switch. It's almost like creating a routine for yourself where you shut that off and you're done for the day. um, Now, for those working parents that are working from home, it's a slightly different story, right? I mean, you're working from home, so you're in your home all day long. um, I think what you can do is really do what Jared said. Kind of maybe shut your eyes, visualize that you're now done, like you're leaving the office, uh, and you are now going home. So helping create some sort of transition for yourself to separate the work from the home atmosphere, right? And I don't know if any of you have like a work office or a home office, like a home office that you work out of. For me, when I did work from home, it was my basement, where I'm at now. I had a little desk right next to me. Um, Maybe it didn't help that I had my personal computer right next to my work computer, but needless to say, um, I think part of my stress from that environment was the fact that I wasn't able to separate because I didn't have the intelligence, the emotional intelligence, or any type of intelligence like that to separate work from home life. Because when I'm at home, I would also go upstairs and snack or, hang out with my family too for a little bit. So it's like I'm at home, but I'm still on the clock. So creating that and being able to like, oh, no. And then I had to tell my family too. It's like, I have to go back downstairs to work. Sorry.
Yep.
That didn't help because it's like, even in my head, I wanted to go hang out with my family rather than do my job.
Yeah. It is hard. It is very hard,
So
especially when you have your young daughter looking up at you with your puppy dog eyes. And can I have this? And can you do this with me? It's like, no, Daddy's
yeah,
on the clock. No,
daddy's a little
not right
busy.
now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even with my little boys too, they're the same way. It's like, can you do this? Or I want to do this. Can we do this? It's like, I'm at work right now. Figure
They
it
don't
out.
understand.
I know. And that's the hard thing is little
Yeah.
kids don't understand that when you're working from home and they know you're home and kind of available to them, they don't understand that you actually have to work. Um,
Right.
it gets a little easier as they're getting older, but I mean that can also be some stress too. But um, I don't know how often people ever do this, though. I know, Jared, this is kind of a way to, if you vent at all. Um, I feel like this is an area of our, something we do too is just kind of vent a little bit, right? Like we are a little bit right now. Um, Venting to your friends. Now, how often have you ever vented to your friends, Jared, about your work life?
Well, you are like my own. Well, no, I do have a work
Ouch.
friend. So it.
Okay, I shouldn't
So
say
you
ouch.
and my other work friend are the only people I talk to besides my family. But it helps, especially and it really helped when my wife was working at the same place I was because I mean, it also didn't help because dinner conversations became work conversations, which really, ugh. But it helped to have someone know exactly what situations you're talking about and have them relate to that exact situation. That was nice
Oh, I can believe that.
with just having the ability to connect on that level as well as a husband and wife level, but just to share the frustration with the workplace as well.
Yeah,
So
but like
venting
you
was
said,
really easy then.
like you said though, it's basically a double-edged sword because you're able to vent about it to your wife. You were able to vent about it. She was able to relate, but at the same time, you're trying to make it like a conversation about how work was or the problems at work, but at the same time, you're doing it while you're at home, and now it's like you guys weren't getting that separation of work home or that work home balance, life balance. I can't speak now. Words are
Work life
becoming
balance.
work life balance. Yes. Um, so no, that's why I wanted to ask about the friends because some other things out there is you can vent to your friends. Just be careful about how often you do it. They're not
Yeah.
therapists. Just remember that they're not trained. Now you might you might be lucky and have a trained therapist friend. This guy right here. Uh, I don't use her services. Um, I Not saying she would be bad. I've never actually used her services before either. I don't think she necessarily would be the person to go to. I think she deals with other types of therapy work and whatnot. So not necessarily have me sit down on a chair and talk about my feelings and everything like that. I think she might work with other things like crises and everything. So I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. So um I don't know. I know we've talked about routines before in the past.
We have.
We certainly have talked about routines, and this is another great thing that you can always do um, to help alleviate some of that stress, just in general. Um, Creating a routine, like your morning routine, your end of work day routine. Like you said, Jared, you like close it up, be done with it. Don't go back to it. I know you said at first you were reading emails till like 7 o'clock, trying to make sure you have less workload in the next day or the morning or whatever. I would agree that's definitely a bad thing to do because you're not getting off that work routine
Right.
until late, and then all of a sudden you would be like, I don't know if you ever did this when you were looking at those emails, but like, okay, I want to look at this email. Okay, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Have you ever
Yep.
just done that where you're like, okay, yeah, this email is an email, but I'll handle it tomorrow. So it's like, well, you just wasted time thinking you were going to touch something and not do it. So, um, have you ever thought about? I mean, so doing the routines or anything. Um, what about getting around or just moving around? So,
Yeah.
like,
A good like walk or something, or jolt up the stairs, get the blood flowing again. That helps.
yeah. So I don't know how often you get breaks from work. Do you get to?
Depends on the day.
Okay, so you don't. I mean, you don't necessarily just be like, "Hey, I'm taking a 15-minute break" or
We're
anything.
supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah, so are we. Well, we're allotted, some time. So, um, we like to take two 15-minute breaks here and kind of step away, do what you want to do, right? That's another good routine to get into as well. If you're taking breaks throughout your day or whatnot, use it. Use it to your advantage. Get that quick walk around or exercise, stretch, something of that nature. I know when my boss was on vacation, so when he goes on vacation, we still have the ability to come in um, and work and get paid. Whereas I know like private practices, sometimes when the dentist takes off, the entire office has to take off because that dentist is the only one certified to. And if you're working under him and or them, and something goes wrong, and he's not, they're not there. Now the office can see a big lawsuit for like a malpractice. Um, if something were to happen to any patient that wasn't under when the doctor wasn't present or anything like that.
Right.
Um, so that whole thing about assistants having to take time off, having to use their own time because the doctor wants to take time off. That to me is a little stressful. But I'm lucky in that sense where if my doctor takes off, I can still come in, do work, clean our office, organize it, whatever it may be, do some things around the office to help for the week. But at one point during one of his vacations, his most recent vacation, one of my teammates, uh, was kind of just getting, I won't say bored, uh, but tired from just sitting around doing some things. So it's like, all right, let's take 10 minutes. We got in a group and we did some group stretches. Like you know how when you're in sports or whatever, and recreational sports, and during your practices and everything, you would take time to stretch. That's what it felt like. We sat there, we stretched, we stood up, we stretched our backs, we stretched our arms. Um, we did kind of like the routine stretches that you would do when you're warming up or anything like that. So take some time to do that. That can help you loosen your body up a little bit. I know when you have a tight body, it doesn't help with the stress or um, your tense muscles and everything. Just if you take time to loosen up or get a refresher, I think that definitely can help the the mental side of your life when it comes to work stress.
Speaking of stress, I got a child crying upstairs. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh. So he gets to do well. He gets to do that. He's gonna stress himself out, just just a tad bit. Hopefully, not too bad. But um, if you guys ever want to think about something too, uh, if you ever see something that's just too big of a task, I know this is different for each field, uh, but the big thing is finding ways to reward yourself. Um, you know, I guess rewarding yourself could be anything from taking a break. So you finally complete the task. I think yesterday, one of my coworkers, she was working with a patient who um, wasn't very cooperative. For example, I mean, little kid, hard to keep cooperative, but also very afraid of going through some things. He was in the chair, and all of a sudden he just wasn't having it. He wasn't doing very well. He didn't want to be in the chair anymore. He didn't want to be at the office. All that, okay, um, all that in the whole 9 yards, basically. Um, it just made it very difficult, and she did a very good job handling it, because it didn't matter how much we talked him or tried to talk him down, or talked him down. They still wanted their parent around. Okay, but my coworker handled it very very well. But she ended up taking a break because she deserved the break. I do not blame her for taking a break by any means after going and having to be a part of that. Just do the small things that are going to help you really refresh, especially after something that has been challenging. Um, so, like, even I would take a break after that, or I wanted to take a break just because I was trying to help talk him down, talk to kid, get him to relax, know that he was in good hands, and we were going to do what we could to help him out while working. So it was definitely difficult. But um, just reward yourself with the small or for completing tasks. If you have to, make sure you make them smaller. Uh, that way, you know you can do it. Um, or break down the big challenges into smaller challenges, and make sure you reward yourself. Yep, make sure you reward yourself for being good and completing. It's kind of like a goal. That's what I'm gonna say. Tasks, challenges, when you break them down into smaller tasks, they're like goals at that point. Goals that you're trying to achieve within the same day. Um, so do that. Do what you can. So, as far as stress, though, I know we can always find things that are going to cause us stress, right? For example, you're doing more work. You feel like you're doing more work than other employees. Um, Lack of employment, for example, where you are doing a crap ton of work because your company doesn't have as many as employees as it once used to or should have to manage the day-to-day processes. These are all factors. Um, Maybe making a mistake. I know earlier this week here, I made a mistake. I was taking an X-ray, um, or something had happened. I don't know how it happened or what caused it, but as I was taking this X-ray, um, I had noticed that there was like a white spot. So like the X-ray itself, normally you can see different shades. You could tell where the teeth are, um, where spaces are based on on the X-ray itself. But on one of the spots where the teeth was, there was a nice big white triangle of what looked like light or something had obstructed it. That the X-ray, um, and I noticed it, and it's like I can't take another X-ray. Um, don't need to expose the patient again to more radiation. If we expose them to too much radiation, it can be bad for them, right? So usually you only take one X-ray every so often, anyways. Like when you go to the dentist for your cleanings, you're only taking like an X-ray every 6 months, or a year for panoramics, or those big X-rays. Um, but essentially, I made the mistake, and this caused some stress for me because there was a mistake on the X-ray that had caused the tooth not to be very visible. Um, and we take X-rays when we're getting ready to reposition brackets. Sometimes I admitted to my boss right away. It's like, this is on me. My bad, my fault for this bad X-ray, because I've normally had pretty damn good X-rays, and he's admitted to it too. He's like, this is a good X-ray. Today or early this week, not so much, um, but it caused some stress in my life. So because I made that mistake, nothing I could really do about changing it or anything like that. But yeah, overall, it's one of those mistakes that just I need to not beat myself up on, and I have a bad tendency because that just makes more stress for myself. So knowing there's mistakes, or knowing of your mistakes, does not help stress either. Jared, you missed out. I was actually talking about some other things to help with it, like creating a, if it's a challenging task, creating small tasks or smaller tasks to work your way up, or completing that one
Okay.
task. So really, like creating goals that are going to be completed within that day. That's a way to help manage some of the stress. But then as you came back, I was talking about another thing that can cause stress, which is like making mistakes throughout the day or anything like that. So um, just trying your best not to make mistakes, uh, because some people love to beat themselves up for making a mistake. Um, and it's just going to wear you down even more. You're going to think about it and mentally just destroy yourself. So,
Right.
um, what else? Uh, do you have anything else you want to talk about, Jared, at all?
No, just be aware of the effects the stress has on you, whether it's home or work. Be condescend, or just know your
Cognizant.
body's reaction of what overtired, and then work backwards into eliminating some of that stress and make yourself feel better. That's the best advice I got.
Well said. I do like that advice. So, folks, if you ever need anything, let us know. We're not professionals by any means, but we'll be happy to provide some advice as well. Um, even outside of the podcast here, or if you have questions and you want us to answer those questions, um, certainly hit us up. You can send it to us via email, leashdads14 at gmail.com. You can send it via Spotify. Uh, you can send it to us on YouTube, TikTok. Although, actually, now that I think about it, just heard about this on the news today or through radio. TikTok is apparently being banned here in the U.S. And apparently, just Biden had just recently signed to have it banned. So I don't know how long that's actually going to last. We'll see, depending on the next presidency or whatnot. I think it'll, whatever happens, happens. So things might not be happening on TikTok anymore. But um,
Well, if I have something to say about that, people, you guys need to wake up. This is them controlling. They're trying to control the way you get information. They
controlling your
they
social
don't
media
have any
outputs.
they don't have any control over the platform because it's a foreign entity, and they're really pissed off about that. And they want to control what content is on there, and they can't with it being in a foreign entity.
Yeah.
That's why they're trying to cancel it.
I think they're also trying to cancel it. Well, with that foreign entity, they're also worried about spies.
I'm not going into it.
Nope. But that's all. That's the whole thing is too. Is like they're trying to eliminate what they can by controlling
Yep.
what the way we get our content and things. So, anyways, folks, have a great rest of the day. Whatever, and we will see you all next week. Get some good sleep.